L'ultimo gommone che ho provato era lungo.
The last rib I tried out was 3 meters long, and I really enjoyed it. But since then, I've really wanted to try something a little more relaxed, like the Sacs Strider 18.
Quasi 18 metri di
We're
lunghezza.
talking nearly 18 meters long, 5 wide and 19 tons. That's dry dock weight.
Sotto il cofano di poppa
Under the hood at the back, there's a 10 horsepower engine, just right for a tender. Oh, and then further down, there's those 2-man turbo diesels. You know, the 800 horsepower ones.
prima di scatenare tutti i
But
cavalli.
before we go out guns blazing, let's warm those engines up and in the meantime, take a look on deck. This boat has the same hull as the Saxer, but here we've got 2 living areas, one at the bow and one at the cockpit. There's a sun deck and the stern diving platform. Everything is very close to the water. The context really drives home the message of how different life on board is compared to life on terra firma.
È un gommone o
So
un yacht?
is it a rib or a yacht? Well, maybe it's neither. Look at the pilot's area. 4 perfectly protected armchairs. There's no other boat like this.
Questo è un tratto a velocità.
We are in a safe zone here. I can't accelerate, so in the meantime, let's go downstairs and see how everything is organised. So, coming down from the lower bridge, you are straight into the kitchen. A great position as you access it straight from outside. From the free area, you get to the only bathroom, which is a separate shower box. You can choose different layouts because there aren't any dividing walls. Here, for example, there are 2 cabins, a double at the bow and a double plus single at the stern.
Questa postazione di pilotaggio ricorda un po' l'abitacolo
This pilot setup reminds me a bit of being in a car,
con l'hard top e poi
with its hard top and windscreen, and these doors that make it more secure.
mi sono messo comodo. In fondo
Sitting down, comfortably I may add, I can see everything. Pretty good, eh?
prendiamo confidenza con questi comandi.
So let's see what these controls are about. 2 levers for engines and then
Non ci sono i flap.
there aren't any flaps.
Beh, questa è già un'ottima cosa. Se non hanno dovuto metterli, probabilmente
Already a good sign.
è giusto.
Means they haven't had to put them in because the structure is already right. It does have trim though, which means you can adjust the angle of the propellers, handy when leaving and maxing speed.
A giudicare dalla scia, siamo già in planata.
Judging by the wake, we are already planing at around 15 knots and 1,300 revs, and I can still see perfectly.
Mi piace guidare
I like to drive a boat that is organised so it works even at low speeds.
mano a mano che la velocità cresce, beh, ormai
As we go faster, we tend to do this in this program, we need a little trim. They've hidden the button though underneath the control lever. It's not that easy to see.
Ecco una velocità ideale, la solita.
This is an ideal speed, a typical 25 knots. We are consuming a total of 150 litres per hour.
Flessivi. Non molto.
Not much for a 1600 horsepower.
L'efficienza delle propulsioni di superficie è straordinaria.
Surface propulsion is incredibly efficient,
Tanta velocità anche con un basso
and not so many revs are needed to get there. For example, at 1,800 revs a minute, for example 30 knots, let's check out consumption. About 180 litres an hour.
In fondo poco di più di 2.
So not much more than 300 horsepower outboards on a 10-metre rib. But the comparison is pretty incredible. This is 18 metres, and we're talking 1,600 horsepower.
Per scoprire la velocità di
To
crociera.
find out the maximum cruising speed, or optimum speed, to be more exact, to sail at, I'm taking the engines up to 1,900 revs a minute, with a little bit more trim.
Sento che lo scafo si solleva
I
leggermente.
can feel that the boat is lifting slightly. The push is better, the engine's more agile. They push better because the propeller is almost parallel with the surface. Look at the wake. It's certainly there, isn't it? Half of the blade is submerged. It's working. The other half, though, is out of the water, and the reason we've got the spray. I think we've reached cruising speed, 32 knots.
mare oggi è delizioso.
The sea is just perfect today, hardly any waves. So let's take advantage and do a figure of 8.
Non perde velocità in virata.
It doesn't slow down whilst turning, maybe a knot or two. In comparison to going straight, not bad. And I can see the propellers are still pushing very well.
Ecco, adesso chiudo l'8 e
And close the 8. Through the waves a little. Quite high, eh? Hold on. Let's see what happens. Nothing.
non succede niente.
Nothing happens. Brilliant.
Comincio a capire perché una
I'm starting to understand why someone would choose a boat like this. It's incredibly stable.
Ci manca ancora una cosa da fare.
One more to do. Max speed. Throttle down and trim up.
Cambia il rumore, diventa
The noise has changed. It's sulkier. You can hear all 1,600 horsepower and the GPS. 40 knots. Fantastic. So what is the difference between this and a boat of the same length? Price? Well, not much. This one costs about 20% less than a yacht. But it is heavily industrialized product, certainly not created with the same care.
Forse la maggiore differenza è dovuta alle prestazioni. Per far correre uno yacht
Perhaps the biggest difference is performance. To make a yacht go the same speed, you need a lot more horses, which means more money when you're buying a boat, as well as more money on petrol every time.
e i costi di esercizio? Beh, sono
And in
sicuramente
terms of excursion costs, well, they're definitely lower with a maxi rib like this one, because you can drive it on your own. With just family helping if you want, you don't need a seasoned mariner or captain.
Io credo che questa sia la potenza giusta per questo maxi rib. Ma se volete di più,
I really think that this is the right combination for this maxi rib, but if you want more oomph, well, don't forget the Sacs builds the Strider ZR, a very special model that goes over 50 knots. In fact, when we tried it, we went 52 with 2,400 horsepower.
lo Strider 18
Sacs Strider 18 is a jewel in the Italian boat yards with just one defect. It costs just a little over €1 million, or about the same as a one-bedroom flat overlooking Portofino. But just remember, from this terrace, you can look out onto just about any bay in the world.